All right, what's up, everybody? It's Sunday night. You know what that means. It means the master and ruler of the world. I gotta get something to hold the phone up better. The master and ruler of the world, the former 6'7", 313-pound master and ruler of the world. I already said that. I said that twice. But Brutal Rob Hands is here with another story. Oh, that's what my channel's called. It smells like a story time, man. This is where I go through and tell the stories of what my experiences were in the 10 years that I was an independent professional wrestler in Northern California. As you guys can see, I got things a little set up a little differently. My last video, as most of my videos, even when I was just doing DoorDash content, I would just sit on my bed and shoot the videos. I did a little rearranging last night, yesterday. Turned a certain part of my room into like a little game area in an office. So I got all my TVs, all my systems in one spot. I got my little computer over there for taxes and all that fun stuff. My PS2 right over here. You can't see it, obviously. I got an Xbox right behind me. And I got my PS4 right there. I got my big screen TV right here, which that was one of the reasons I wanted to rearrange things for my videos. And I'm actually glad that my PlayStation 2 and my Xbox controller are doing a good job of holding up my phone, because I would like, with the way the setup is, I'd like to run some footage of my old matches in the background while I'm telling my stories to add a little more pizzazz to my videos, because to be honest, I don't know, I have no fucking idea what I'm doing when it comes to this shit. I really don't. I see other people's YouTubes and they got all these big fancy setups in front of where they do their videos, so you know what? I got it set up to where, at least you can see some old matches of mine going on. Right now, the match that's going on, this was a very important match for me. It was a main event of a Hood Slam. It was me, 6'7", 313 pounds in my full glory, going up against my former mentor, my former coach, one of the men that made me the pro wrestler that I was, Coach Joey Nugs. And this was for the Golden Gig, which was the highest championship in Hood Slam. That's not why we're here, though. That's not why we're here. I'll tell this story another day. What we're here today is the last video, my first video, after I changed up the direction of my YouTube channel. So like I said, I was doing DoorDash content, and who wants to go and work and do something 8, 9, 10 hours a day, then come home at the end of the week and talk about it? It is what it is. Well, one of the DoorDash YouTubers says that a lot. Actually, a lot of YouTubers say it is what it is a lot. But the last video that I left you guys with, I told you guys the story of the first ever independent pro wrestling show that I attended. I was 20 years old. Like I said, I was a card-carrying member of the WWE Universe. And, oh man, got a big old test of strength going on right here. I got two massive beef men. Oh, look at that, test of strength. Anyways, like I said, 20 years old. I was a card-carrying member of the WWE Universe, and excuse me if I start laughing my ass off, because there's a spot in this match which is happening right now, which I think is it was absolutely hilarious. Look it up on the Hood Slam YouTube channel, and you'll see for yourself. And yeah, shout out, check out, all the pro wrestling that's in the Bay Area. I know it's it's really hard with COVID and restrictions, but the three companies that I worked for the most, Hood Slam, Best of the West, East Bay Pro Wrestling. If you're a wrestling fan in those areas, check out their YouTubes, check out their Facebooks, check out their events. I know Hood Slam has an event March 4th in downtown West Oakland on the streets. It's going to be on the streets, an outdoor setting. So I know tickets are going fast for that. So if you want to check that out, get on it. But anyways, back to the story. The stories, man. Card-carrying member of the WWE Universe, pal. I had no idea about any other wrestler. I mean, I knew there was TNA, I knew there was ROH, but I had no idea what the indie scene was. I had no idea. I wanted to be a pro wrestler. It was a lifelong dream of mine, but I had no idea at all how to break in until I went to that APW show that I discussed in my first video, and I seen guys that looked like they could be in WWE, and then I saw guys that looked just like me, and they were hyping the boot camp every match. So like I said in the last video, I ended up calling the boot camp, talked to Roland Alexander on the phone, and set up a date. I went to the APW show on a Saturday, called later that week, and by the following Friday, I had a meeting with Mr. Alexander. So that's what we're going to talk about today, pal, is when I met Roland Alexander and when I stuck my foot in the door of pro wrestling. And to clarify this, or not to clarify, but just to put this right out in front, I gave Roland a lot of my money. I never wrestled once for APW. I never wrestled once for Roland. And that's definitely something that was not their fault. We're going to get into what happened and why I had to leave APW in later videos. But even when I had to leave APW, Roland always kept the door open. Granted, he kept the door open because I still owed him money. And I'm sure as the businessman he was, he realized if I keep him close and allow him to still feel like he's part of the family, I'm going to get my money. Much easier. I'm more likely going to get my money that I'm owed as opposed to not letting him be like he's part of the family, not letting him around, and having to send him to collections. So even when I had the incidences in my life that I was forced to step away from wrestling, and I was trying to work my way back, Roland always kept me around. So even though I gave him a lot of money, I never really completed the boot camp training, and I never wrestled for APW. The fact of the matter is, had I not met Roland Alexander and signed that contract, I would have never, ever, ever gotten into pro wrestling. That was my foot in the door. It was a very expensive $4,000 foot in the door, but it was a foot in the door. And I would have never met the people that I ended up meeting later on that allowed me to continue my career in pro wrestling. So, my dad had went with me to the show, and he was going to go ahead and go down to meet Roland with me. So I meet him, we get in his car, and we drive to the Bay Area. Traffic. And the whole time I'm like, man, this is crazy, the amount of traffic trying to get down here from where I live in Lake County. And I'm just trying to tell myself, like, I'm trying to just keep in my head, like, this is not probably the smartest idea. Like, I'm 20 years old. I'm 20 years old. I'm horrible with money, and I'm in the beginning stages of a drug and alcohol habit. So we get down to the Bay Area. We finally get over there. In fact, we were running a little bit late because, you know how bad the traffic is. So right as we're going down West Winton Avenue, I get a phone call and it was Roland. I go, no, we're heading down right now. Head down West Winton, swing that left on Cabot there, and actually no, I think it was no, that street was Cabot. I don't think it was Industrial. Yeah, because it was Cabot Court, I believe, where the garage was. Turn, pull into the APW garage. I get my first look at the APW garage. You know, no, it's a little warehouse in South Hayward. But the only difference was all these other warehouses, maybe these places are making cabinets and furniture. This is painting cars. This one's fixing cars. This one's got refrigerators. Well, this one's got a wrestling ring in the middle of it. And the offices are locker rooms. So we meet. He tells me basically what it is, you know. $4,000 to train. I think it was like a $1,500 down payment. I'm not 100% sure. And then it'd be $200 a month, you know, $200 a month, monthly payments. And I'm sitting there, you know, like, already how long of a drive it took to get down there. And I'm going to have to be doing this commute twice a week to train. Like I said, I'm a 20-year-old. I'm bad with money. But this is all there's only two things I wanted to do. I wanted to be a firefighter, or I wanted to be a pro wrestler. And the way I was living life at 20 years old, there is no way in hell that my pot smoking, cocaine snorting, robo tripping ass was going to be a fireman. So I signed the contract. My dad, as you know, shout out to my parents, both my mom and my dad and my stepdad. All three of them combined have always supported me in whatever I wanted to do, no matter how harebrained or how far-fetched or how out of left field things came. My parents and step-parents have always been there and supported me, and if they can help me, they will. If they can do something for me, they will. And for a lot of years, I was a little fuck who made a lot of bad decisions, and I did not deserve the help and the support that they gave me. So that being said, my dad, I believe he signed it. He wrote the check for the initial down payment, and boom, this was summertime. I was signed up. I was signed up to start the January 2011 APW Boot Camp Beginners class. I was signed up, ready to go. And, you know, Roland took one look at me and, you know, goes, hey, you know, to do this, it's going to take a lot of, you know, it's going to take a lot of hard work and dedication. Kind of looks at me a little bit and goes, you know, you're going to want to stay away from the Jack in the Box, the fast food, the this and the that. And like I said, I was 5'5" at this time and pushing 215 pounds. I was a fat little chubby boy. And I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So that was me signing the story. Let's talk about Roland a little bit. So I walk in to this, you know, the way they hyped it on the radio and the brochure and the pro wrestling where the superstars of tomorrow were born. I'm thinking, man, talk to this guy on the phone. I'm thinking this is going to be some serious, you know, meeting with some business guy. Anybody that's met Roland Alexander, you know exactly what I walked into. I walked into a baseball cap, a cutoff t-shirt. When I mean cutoff, I mean a t-shirt where the sleeves were cut off, a pair of sneakers, a pair of basketball shorts, and his sunglasses. And like I said, I was 5'5" and about 215 pounds, and he maybe had an inch or two less than me and about 60, 70 pounds on me. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to like make fun of him or bury him or anything. I loved Roland. When he passed away, that was a very that was hard. I mean, it was hard on a lot of us that were around him, and that especially people that spent a lot more time around him than I did. But I loved Roland. Roland, he always did me right. But god damn, you walk in and you're just like, holy shit, this guy is a carny. And he was, to an extent, and I don't say that and I'm not saying that in a negative connotation. We're live, pal. I'm not trying to say that in a negative way. Roland was the last of a dying breed. He was the last of like an old generation of those old school wrestling promoters that, they're going to get over on whoever they can get over on. And you're not going to really be able to get over on them unless you're better at getting over on people than he is. You got to be able, you're not going to get over on him unless you're better at playing that game than he is. And there were people that were better at playing that game than he was, as in all levels of wrestling. There's anyone who thinks they're a great politician or a backstage politician and really great at getting over on people and whatnot, there's always going to be somebody out there more sneakier and able to do it better. But yeah, I was signed up. I had the whole contract written up. Had it all, there. And I was on my journey. I had taken my first step on my journey to becoming a pro wrestler. And I knew that I had to get into shape. I knew. Oh wow. That's the match I had just ended, and this is a very, very, very old school match. This was from back when I was still a student, but it's James C., a former tag partner of mine, versus Drugs Bunny, actually a former trainer of mine. In a 1920s prohibition match from Hood Slam. These are all things you can go to the Hood Slam channel, subscribe, check them out yourself, instead of just the horrible quality through my phone, through my TV screen. But I signed up. I'm a card-carrying member, card-carrying future student of the APW boot camp. I get back up to my house where I was living at the time and tell my girlfriend, hey, yep, I'm signed up. I'm ready to go. I'm going to start training to be a wrestler in January, and I don't think either of us knew that, yep, our relationship will be ending very, very soon. And I decided that, well, you know what? Let's go ahead and have one last hurrah. So we went and got some cocaine that night, and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to do it this one last night, and, I'll start taking training seriously. That didn't happen. I didn't really get any of that stuff under control till about 10 years or so later. 15, no, 10 or so later, but, and that also started my yo-yoing. And it also started the beginning of my yo-yo dieting, to where I'm really trying to figure out how to do this, how to diet. I know how to go work out. I mean, I signed up at my mom's gym that she went to, and I signed up there through like their family plan, so I was able to go work out, and I had to learn the dieting part. I remember that weekend I met with Roland on a Friday, and I had that following Saturday I was coming back from my mom's house back to where I lived, and I was passing the Jack in the Box in Clear Lake. I was almost about ready to pass the Jack in the Box in Clear Lake, and I was like, man, I'm gonna go have one last milkshake. And I kind of remember going and having that one last like fast food meal, and then really trying to figure out how to diet, which I had no idea on how to do it. So that's where I'm going to leave it at with today. So I want to talk about the first. That was me meeting Roland Alexander. That was me getting signed up for the APW boot camp and making a huge life decision when, at the time, my life was. I was like, I was a young and dumb kid not making good decisions. And had I had more of a head on straight, getting involved in pro wrestling is a great decision. But the way I was living at that time, like, it really in the long run would affect my dedication and in my progress, you know. We would train on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I'm sorry. We would train on Mondays and Wednesdays, and shows would be on the weekends where I'd go, whether it was APW or anywhere else, I'd go and help out, ring crew, etc., which we'll get into in later videos. I'm just throwing some teasers out. And where I should have been on those Wednesday nights, or on those Tuesday nights and those Thursday nights when I wasn't training, and in between the two training sessions, I should have been at home studying tape and hitting the gym and working out, and instead of hanging out at the bar playing pool, which that was like my routine. I would train on Monday, I'd go and get shitty drunk and play pool at the bar on Tuesday, wake up, go head down to the Bay Area, train on Wednesday, and go get shitty drunk at the bar on Thursday and play pool. And then you mix in some nose candy, and how I was getting deeper and deeper and deeper into that type of lifestyle. And, I was there for training. I was there for training. I was there to help out at shows, but all the extracurricular stuff that you need to do and you need to take upon yourself to actually not just go into WWE, but actually make it to debut as a pro wrestler, and the stuff you actually have to do to really learn this craft. I wasn't doing that. I was screwing off, playing pool and getting drunk and doing blow, But so for my next video, I'll talk to you guys about is the first show that I was on the other side of the railing. Because after I signed up, about 2 weeks later, there was an APW show, and I watched that up in the loft. I came there, Roland introduced me to everybody. I'll talk about that a little bit in the next video, too. I started to meet everybody, and I watched that show in the loft. And then the next following month's show, I was security for the first ever time. And this was at the time when APW Gym Wars was being shot and broadcast on local access television. So not only was I doing security, but I was getting, if you would look really hard, you could see me in the camera shots doing security. And, I'd go back home and watch the local access channel, and it's like, that was the start of my first show on the other side of the curtain. And boy, I was jazzed. I was pumped up the first night that I got to be security, that I got to be something more than just a fan. I was actually part of the show. But I'm going to go ahead and save that for next week. We'll talk about my first show where I was introduced to and I met everybody. And we'll talk about that first show where I got to be on the other side of the barricade. Which is funny because there was no barricades at APW, but it's a figure of speech. But anyways, this has been the artist formerly known as Brutal Rob Hands, the 6'7", 313-pound master and ruler of the world, who is sitting in West Memphis, Arkansas, taking bong rips and playing softball and telling you guys his stories on what it was like to be an independent pro wrestler in the lovely Northern California wrestling scene. Until next week, everybody, this has been Brutal Rob Hands. And you know what? The hell with it. I'll give one for old time's sake. Big guy stuff!